Love it even more if it was updated.
There is a way to get the home you want. Huddle up. With Rocket Mortgage, you can turn your home's equity into cash. Now, the only thing that's left to do is visualize all the possibilities.
When you're ready to turn your home into your dream home, Rocket can. Rocket.
Cutting your burrito? You're such a Virgo.
And you have serious Libra vibes. You got 2 different burritos because you couldn't decide.
It is not an easy decision.
That's exactly what a Libra would say.
Says the girl who cuts her burrito.
Napoleon was born and raised to conquer, but he was just kind of over it, you know. Watching Prime Video, he realized he should follow his dreams. So he ordered a microphone with Prime next day delivery. Now the only thing he cared about conquering was his audience.
Tout le monde peut me voir derrière? Ok, je me lève.
Prime changed everything.
We love our new home. Lots of windows, great light.
But the birds. They're back.
Yes, I hear them.
Uh-oh. Why are these birds so angry?
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
We save a lot.
I'm going. Ah!
Hurry!
I know.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Woo! Papa John's just took their fresh, never frozen dough and hand stretched it New York style. So you can fold it or not. Ain't gonna lie though, I fold it. Get a New York style pizza from Papa John's.
The race for the FedEx Cup is on.
Let's go!
I'm gonna show you how.
Get out early, take the lead, and don't look back. The pursuit never sleeps.
I've been where you are. It just took someone to believe in me for me to understand.
I hope they hear me.
A new Equalizer, Sunday on CBS.
Back one more time on the college football postgame show presented by Rocket Mortgage. Washington State made a comeback, but it was Central Michigan holding on to win their first bowl game in nearly a decade. Tony the Tigers, Sun Bowl champs. Now, the first college football playoff semifinal just got underway. Cincinnati and Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, Rick, and Bama ran the ball, and then this.
Well, Cincinnati came into this game the #2 passing defense in the country. Why throw the ball if you don't need to? They did there on 2nd down and 9, Slade Bolden finishing it off, but Alabama flexing right now as their offensive line and their running game got healthy over the last 4 weeks.
And that bunch route, we've seen numerous times by this offense, and it worked to perfection there.
Yeah, and look, it was a rough November for Alabama until the very end of that Iron Bowl, and then, of course, the big, what some saw was a surprise against Georgia in the SEC championship game. Now, in the other playoff semifinal, a battle of 12-1 teams in the Orange Bowl tonight. Michigan, the Big Ten champs, squaring off against Georgia. The third-ranked Bulldogs played spectacular defense in all but one game. They are deep, they are talented, and allowed just 3 rushing touchdowns the entire season. But can they recover from that SEC championship loss? The strength of the second-ranked Wolverines is its run game, Rick, and its incredible two-headed monster in Hassan Haskins and Blake Corum, the duo combining for 31 touchdowns and over 2,300 yards on the ground.
There is no question that Michigan has played beautiful complementary football all season long. The running game has been outstanding. When necessary, their quarterbacks have been brilliant. McNamara, I think, is really a great
A child has been found in Davidson County. The sheriff's office was searching for Caitlin Jo Sharp. You may have gotten that alert on your phone, but she has since been found safe. Little is known about her disappearance, but we will share that update when we learn more both on air and online.
We're also following breaking news in the entertainment world. Betty White has died just weeks before her 100th birthday. TV's Golden Girl and America's Sweetheart career spanned more than 8 decades. Her most famous role, The Golden Girls and The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Shock and support continues to pour in online as the world remembers the comedian who could bring a smile to just about anyone's face. She was 99 years old, and wow. Whenever the newsroom heard it, we all thought it couldn't be true.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't want it to be true. I still don't want it to be true.
Either.
It's heartbreaking.
And also, I'm old enough to remember the Mary Tyler Moore Show. She was absolutely wonderful in that. Even with her, what was the most recent thing she was in with Valerie Bertinelli and something Cincinnati? You know what I'm talking about? She was in a show not too long ago. I just think about 80 years in show business. Like, that's incredible.
Absolutely.
For her to last that long.
We grew up watching her. I love the Golden Girls, watch all the reruns, and it just seemed like she was going to live forever. She just had such a great spirit. And even though she was almost 100, she had such a young energy about her, always energetic.
Edgy, a lot of innuendo in her jokes too. She wasn't afraid to say anything about anything. I remember she back in the early 2000s, it might have been 2006, somewhere around there. She did TV specials, and I mean, think about that. What's that? 15 years ago. So she was in her 80s, and she did a TV special called Off Their Rockers with a bunch of older comedians that were and actresses that were probably in their early 80s at that point, and they go out and prank people and video it. She had a young spirit about it.
And though she was just shy of her 100th birthday, she had such a productive life. She's blessed so many people, made so many people laugh, and so it's nice to see that she did have such a huge impact on the world.
Yeah, she will definitely be missed. You can share your memories of her, maybe your favorite movie with her in it on our Facebook stream.
Absolutely. Next, you need to check this out. Look at this incredible line of people waiting to get tested. It captures just a glimpse of the demand health care providers are seeing right now.
There were more than 100 people waiting in line at the Four Seasons Mall hoping to get tested sometime today. One resident said he was getting tested because he was exposed.
No, I thought it would be pretty busy. I thought there would be at least a 2-hour wait. Seems like all the urgent cares are fully booked, so 2 hours actually sounded good to me.
Healthcare providers have seen lines like this for the last 2 weeks, and it's showing our percent positive rate climbed up to 22.9%. Remember, this number is a record high, but we're likely to see that as more people get tested than before.
Hospitals are starting to feel the impact of the surge, but they feel better prepared for the wave of patients. Triad hospitals are urging people not to go to the hospital if you are looking for a COVID test. It's a problem they say they've dealt with over the last several weeks as demand for testing skyrockets. Health leaders are urging people to get vaccinated and get their booster to strengthen the protection against the virus. We spoke with a 27-year-old who's been in the hospital for 6 months fighting COVID. Jeffrey Haynes says he first found out he had COVID when he went to get tested after experiencing symptoms during a work project.
So I thought all this was just thing, people getting the flu and they're just blowing out of proportion. I would always say you got a better chance of winning a lottery ticket off a Goodwill coat. And it's just been one setback after another. I mean, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't know if getting vaccinated will help stop it, but I would say go ahead and get vaccinated.
Sad. Right now, there are currently more than 2,300 people in the hospital with COVID-like symptoms.
Duke University is once again changing its spring semester plans. The university is pushing remote learning out further until January 18th. Originally, the university would learn remotely until January 10th. Leaders say they reached this decision after North Carolina recorded more than 18,000 cases yesterday, a pandemic high for our state. Resident halls will open on January 2nd, but students are encouraged to wait as long as possible to return. Earlier this week, Duke University also announced all faculty and staff will be required to get their COVID booster shot to continue their careers. Faculty and staff have until February 1st to prove they received their booster or 28 days after they become eligible. Anyone who does not follow the new rules or is not exempt will receive a final warning and be placed on administrative leave. They will then have 1 week to get their booster, and if they fail to do so, they could lose their job or not be offered for rehire.
Yadkin County schools will require students and staff to wear face masks when they go back to school on Monday. The district said masks will be worn for at least a week as they track each school's data. 2 new COVID testing programs will also be implemented. The first takes care of a student who starts to show symptoms at school. If a parent opts their child into the testing program, school leaders will call the parents, then test the child on school grounds. The second deals with children who are possibly exposed. If a child is considered a close contact to a positive case, they'll be tested on days 1, 3, 5, and 7 after the exposure. It's important to know these programs require parent permission. The school district plans to meet Monday evening to address rising case numbers. Yadkin County School Superintendent Dr. Todd Martin says before Christmas break, district leaders did see cases start to rise in schools, but nothing as concerning as now.
Our goal is to keep students in school. And so we feel like having students and staff wear face coverings, that will reduce the numbers of students who will have to quarantine, and we'll accomplish that goal. We'll be able to keep more students in school by requiring face coverings at least the first week back.
Dr. Uhl agrees masking is going to be the school district's best option as students and staff return from Christmas break.
The most important thing in picking a mask for your kid is pick one that fits and fits well. If you're using a cloth mask, it should be a tight-fitting, 2-ply, tight-knit cotton. If a surgical mask fits your child well, and is comfortable for your child, then that might be a better choice. But the most important thing is that it fits and that your kid wears it over the nose and mouth and keeps it up to that level.
We have reached out to other school districts about their options for returning back to school after winter break. We'll update you on any possible changes in your child's district once we hear back.
Well, this warm weather continues at least for another day or two. Sunday a little cooler than tomorrow, but by Monday of next week you may be asking for this back again. We'll see some 20s for overnight lows. Huge turnaround there. 64 in Greensboro right now, 66 in High Point. Winston-Salem you have 65. Let's look east. Burlington 67 along with Yanceyville, Mount Airy and even 60. And if you head south there, Asheboro 68. So overnight lows tonight, 59 degrees, a few showers still with us. Same story tomorrow, but a late day thunderstorm possibility. Not a great chance, but still it's out there. We'll look for that. Not a damaging wind type situation or anything like that, but you might hear a rumble of thunder here or there. I mean, we're up to 73 degrees tomorrow. Winds are something to note for tomorrow as well. Out of the southwest, 5 to 10 tonight, but tomorrow, southwest 10 to 15, gusting to 30. That will be a windy day and a rainy day, really. Not as rainy as Sunday, though. That's probably the rainiest day of the next week. You look across the region, we've had some showers moving in. Bigger picture here, it's not quite as organized as it once was, but Sunday, when the front actually moves through, we'll watch that as it pushes through. There is a chance of just some heavier showers on Sunday. 80% chance now with a high of 68. Clear and cold heading into next week. Monday, Tuesday, sunny, mid to upper 40s. Lows 25 for Tuesday morning, and then we'll moderate a bit. Low to mid 50s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Slight rain chance on Thursday.
Well, I know everyone is ready for the new year, a fresh start and new beginning, but a lot of good did happen in 2021. I asked you on my Facebook page, what was the best part of your year? Mr. Moore says, for me, my first grandbaby was born December 16th, one day before my birthday, December 17th, but that's close enough. Congrats to him. Angie retired. Paul writes, just happy to be with family and being alive after having spent a week in the hospital back in February with COVID pneumonia. God is good. He is indeed. For Melissa, it was being told she'd be a grandma soon. That's exciting. Daniel is inching closer to college graduation. Heather got engaged. Congrats, Heather. And Susan, my mom, wrote, becoming a BG. And that stands for Best Granny Ever. that is what Baylor is going to call her. That's what she decided on, BG.
That's her name, BG?
BG. So it was from a show on HGTV.
Oh, okay.
Somebody was
Oh, I've never
BG,
heard
so
of that.
she's going to be BG. And of course, my favorite part of my year was having Baylor.
Absolutely. This year, it's funny, and I talk about this in my 2 cents today. I've never been a New Year's Eve fan. I always felt like, especially like back when you were single, it was too much pressure to be with somebody. The song Auld Lang Syne to me is sad. It just sounds like the ending of something instead of the beginning of a new year. So I've never been a huge fan of it, but I am so glad that this year will be over from a COVID standpoint. I'm ready. We need to get going.
Yeah,
here,
we gotta get
Seriously.
through this.
I agree.
I would say the best thing for me is moving here to Greensboro and coming to WFNY. I started here in March, and you all have just been so welcoming. You've been so kind, and you made me feel like I've worked here for years and just accepted me. And I'm just looking forward to see what the Triad has to offer. There's still so much I need to see.
Your list goes
my
on
list
and on.
is going on and on and on. So I need you guys to help me tackle some of those things.
Yeah,
We gotta do it.
I'm so excited to bring in the new year with you guys too. It's just been such a blessing for me as well to be on the 4 to 5.
It's
I'm
a
having
fun show. I know we're different than most of the other newscasts, and I love that. I thrive on that, and I'm thankful. I'm gonna tell you right now, these two are easy to like. It's easy. There are TV relationships, and then there's real friendships, and these are real.
You guys
Yes.
are awesome. These are some genuine, good people, and I'm just so blessed to work with you all.
It's the Mutual Admiration Society.
Been a delight.
I love it.
Well, today people use the nice weather to run towards their resolutions for 2022. The Fleet Feet Resolution Run happened in Greensboro. Runners had the chance to run as far as they wanted on the Greenway and enjoyed music, snacks, and friends after.
A lot of times people see us as a running store, but most of the people that come through our doors are walkers or people that are just really looking to get their good first pair of shoes. So we never like to push any type of pace or distance requirement for any of our group runs. It's come out if you want to walk, that's awesome. We just really encourage a healthy lifestyle.
The Resolution Run takes place every year. Share your New Year's Resolution Run with us on our Facebook live stream. We'll be right back, folks.
Hi, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Okay, be there in a second.
After a COVID scare threatening to take away an opportunity at the 2021 Gator Bowl, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons had the chance to play today, and they're bringing home the trophy. Last week, opponents Texas A&M ended its season unexpectedly due to COVID-19 and injuries on the team. WFMY News 2's Amanda Ferguson joins us now. Amanda, the Deacs had a big win today.
Stacy, Wake Forest wins the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, beating Rutgers 38-10. Head coach Dave Clawson and the Demon Deacons finished the season with 11 wins for only the second time in program history. A great ending to a historic season overall for the Deacs, who cracked the top 10 for the first time ever this year and won the ACC Atlantic title. Plus, quarterback Sam Hartman finishes the season on a high note. He threw 4 picks in the ACC championship game, resulting in a Wake loss. But today, he didn't throw any, threw 3 touchdown passes, though. Brandon Chapman bringing in 2 of Wake's 4 touchdowns. The defense stepping up in the second half, not letting Rutgers get any more points on the board past the second quarter. And kicker Nick Skiba ends his Wake career with 3 made field goals. He's been such a luxury to have on the team. This was the Deacs' 6th straight bowl game. They didn't win theirs last year, but now they're back in the win column. We hope to hear from the team coming up in sports on WFMY News 2 at 6.
UNCG just postponed its men's basketball game against Wofford. The game was scheduled for Saturday, but both teams are dealing with COVID cases. 4 of 5 league games scheduled for Saturday have been postponed. Elon University's men's basketball game scheduled for today has been postponed due to COVID. Elon's team is dealing with cases on their team as well. They were set to tip off against Hofstra. A decision is still being made on a possible rescheduled date.
A couple of stray showers worked their way through the area earlier today, and we will probably deal with that again, not only tonight, but during the day tomorrow, and again tomorrow afternoon, and then Sunday, yet another system moves by. So we've got some wet weather coming up. 64 degrees in the Triad right now. If you look at this hour by hour, we stay pretty consistent, don't we? Between about 62 and 64. That's all the way through 2 a.m. Notice that the rain starts to get a little bit heavier as you head into the overnight hours. So you ring in the new year and then you scoot and head back in because here comes the rain. Chance of a thunderstorm. Now, we almost use the word thunderstorm. It sounds worse than it really is. I think we might see, you might hear a little thunder. You may see a flash of lightning in the sky, but it's not anything major for us. But it is unusual for this time of the year, that's for sure. Most of the rain moving out for now. Again, as we mentioned, back to the west, this cold front, that'll start to gain a little strength, get some steam to it, and then all of that will move by. Now, Sunday, we have a 40% chance to 60% tomorrow, but Sunday we're going up that 60 to 80% chance of rain. That could be much heavier in the way of rainfall and much colder back behind it. So highs in the low 70s tomorrow. That's the warmest day we've seen in a while. 73, 68 and rainy on Sunday. It will be windy tomorrow, by the way. Wind gusts up to 30. Then sunny Monday, Tuesday. We're back to the 40s for highs. That is cold. And then some low to mid 50s and variably cloudy skies Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the 4 to 5. Eric, Lauren, and Stacy with you today. It is New Year's Eve and Friday. That is a double dose of excitement.
This year just flew on by. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like it just snapped.
It happened.
It just happened. Well, welcome if you're watching on air, online, on the WFNY News 2 app, Fire Stick, Roku, or even on our Facebook page.
Yeah, we have a really exciting story to start off with. Check this out. Downtown Greensboro is getting a social district. This means in a restricted area shown in this map, we'll show it to you in just a second, you'll be able to take your drink to go, walk down the street with it, and possibly take it into another business. City Council recently passed the ordinance 7-2 after it was authorized by the North Carolina legislature. Let me break it down for you, okay? Anyone wanting to drink in the social district must have a specific Greensboro social district cup. It can be no larger than 16 ounces. There will be signage up to showcase the perimeter of the district. You will not be allowed to take your drink into another business that has an ABC license, so you couldn't take a drink from one bar into another bar. However, if a business like a boutique allows drinks inside, you can take it in there. The social district will only be from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m.
By and large, folks want to give it a try. Let's give something a try. Let's continue to promote the cool, energetic vibe that we're creating in downtown Greensboro.
There are some concerns, though, with this new venture. Council member Sharon Hightower voiced hers at the City Council meeting.
And I think we just need to be a little bit more responsible in this. I mean, maybe the social district is fine. In other cities, it probably works fine. I don't know. But I know this city is really being asked to control our violence. And we're getting ready for the next item to implement a safety plan for just some of those things. It looks a little discriminatory in those bases as well for me.
Assistant City Manager Trey Davis and Zach Matheny both emphasized the research and planning behind this district. This is a collaborative effort between the city, DGI, law enforcement, including GPD, and Parks and Rec. Plus, both ABC and ALE reviewed it and have no issue with it. Now, this plan for the social district is to start in March. So a lot of planning, a lot of research behind all of this, and they look to a lot of other cities that have done this successfully and safely to be able to create our own social district.
You know, I mean, it really creates almost like a festival mentality, I think, and even on just an average night. I don't see a problem with that, especially, I'll say this, with GPD and law enforcement involved, and they're aware of this and they're kind of cognizant and help to put input in on it. I think it's a great thing for downtown Greensboro.
Those were my same thoughts, Eric, and I think this is great just for the business life down there too, because you can walk, you can go into different businesses and things like that. I think it just creates more excitement, and especially people who are visiting in town. You might see more outsiders coming into the area as well, and if they do, this is going to be like a trial and error process for sure, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was really interesting that Matheny told me was that Huntsville, Alabama did this, okay? Do you remember what Huntsville, Alabama got instead of us a few years ago?
Tell me.
Remember wasn't it Toyota that went there, or not Toyota, but another company went there to their mega site instead of ours. And that was all part of it because they had just implemented this.
Okay.
And apparently it brought a lot of people in downtown. So hopefully that's what this is going to happen.
I mean, I think it will, to create a social setting where, you know, you go from one place to the next. I guarantee you, I think, at least me, you know, my uneducated guess here, I think they'll have more outdoor seating as a result of this. A lot of places will effort to have that so that people can kind of meander from one store to the next.
It just seems very progressive, like we're pushing in a direction to make this like a, you know, we have the Tanger Center, we have all these different things like to do here in Greensboro. So I think it's a great idea.
Entertainment district.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And remember, the state did approve this first before Greensboro did, so that's good to know.
Well, there are a few new state laws coming in the new year. You can now order liquor online through the ABC store. The order must be picked up in person at the store, and you're required to show your ID to get your order. It continues can adopt ordinances letting businesses serve alcohol in outdoor seating areas outside their licensed premises. Drinks will be at the center of celebrations tonight with champagne toasts to ring in the new year. And even though alcohol can help you fall asleep, medical experts say it can impact your quality of sleep as well. Doctors say as your body processes alcohol, it produces a chemical that has been linked to cell damage and the dreaded hangover. Alcohol can also prevent you from getting into a deepest stage of sleep. Doctors suggest to let your body process the alcohol before hitting the hay.
Ah, the dreaded hangover, right? The headache, the upset stomach, the worst feeling after a night of drinking. But does it get worse with age? We verify.
January 1st is National Hangover Day. People across social media are sharing their tips and tricks to combat the effects of alcohol for those who may have drank a little bit too much. But like this tweet suggests, people claim that there's one cause of bad hangovers that we can't control: getting older. But is that true? Let's verify. We went to these sources for an answer. The liver is the main detoxifier in the body, and liver enzymes help us break down alcohol. Emmanuel Amenki, who studies internal medicine at UCLA Medical Center, says the older we get, the less efficient enzyme production is. So it takes longer for our bodies to sort through the effects of heavy drinking in comparison to when we were younger. So if a 25-year-old person and a 55-year-old person were to drink 3 margaritas with the same alcohol content at the same place, who would feel the sting more? Amenki says more than likely it would be the 55-year-old.
The reason being that the younger person has organs that are more efficient, has blood flow that is understandably faster and reaches more areas, and also has the ability to have his tissues, which are more sensitive, clear the toxin much faster than the older person.
But according to Jesus Chavarria, a researcher at the Center for Addiction and Mental Health in Toronto, there is no one-size-fits-all explanation to understanding hangovers.
We know that one of the biggest predictors of hangover isn't even the level of intoxication you are. It's the level of subjective intoxication. What some research has found is that no matter how much you drink, if you drink more than your usual amount, your likelihood of experiencing a hangover and the severity of it goes up.
He says studies on the impact and direct causes of hangovers are still developing, and more research is needed to draw conclusions. Melissa Majumater, a registered dietitian and nutritionist based out of Atlanta, agrees that there are more factors at play than just age and liver metabolism, like proper sleep. Studies from Harvard University and the Mayo Clinic say dehydration also plays a big role. So we can verify the claim that hangovers get worse with age, well, it needs context.
Don't come to the old guy right after you do a story about hangovers.
We both just turned and looked at you.
I was like this. What do you think about this? I will tell you that, so a friend of mine who's a doctor, we had this discussion one time, and we were talking about the effects of alcohol on people as they get older, not necessarily from drinking too much, but just over a lifetime. But one of the things he said that was interesting to me, he said that the body goes into a natural second sleep mode, the deeper sleep, after about 4 hours. And he said, we've noticed that with patients, they'll say after they've had a few drinks or something, if they go to bed right after, in 4 hours, almost like clockwork, they wake up. And there's something to do with the alcohol. It doesn't allow you to go into that next level of sleep. You wake up and then you're either up and you can't go back to sleep, or it takes you a long time to fall back asleep. And that can be detrimental long term, right?
I've noticed that to be true too. Like if I have like a glass of wine or something before I go to sleep, I feel like I'm not fully asleep. I'm just kind of like my eyes are closed, but I'm still kind of awake. Do you ever get that feeling?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I can't sleep as well. But I did do a story about like the best hangover cures a while ago. It was it's like in my first market for a New Year's Eve story. And they said to always make sure you're drinking water. So like if you have 4 glasses of wine, you need to have like 4 bottles of water.
Wow, that's a lot of water.
I know, but they said you need to like hydrate yourself because alcohol obviously dehydrates you. And then I think it was vitamin B12, I want to say, helped with that. You're supposed to take vitamin B12 before drinking, and then they also recommended Pedialyte.
Okay, what about
my roommate in college would keep a giant tumbler of water beside his bed. If we ever went out and had anything to drink, he would always have that and would chug that before he went to bed. I don't know if that helps.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
What about carbs? Like eating like Chinese food or pizza and things like that?
I think that just makes you feel better, right?
Oh, okay. I don't know if it like soaked it up, but I don't know if that's like a myth or
that
something.
may be mental, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting there. All right, let's talk about forecast. I'd rather talk about that right now. Let's move on. Who wants to talk about hangovers, especially on New Year's Eve? All right, here's what we see with hour by hour. Temperature-wise, we're pretty consistent, right? And if you are headed out tonight, I mean, number one, be safe. We say that all the time. If you're going to go out and have a couple drinks, just be safe about it and call a ride if you need it. You look at these numbers, 62 to 64. That's it. That's the range of temperatures for overnight and into the morning. But notice this, we see the rain getting a little heavier, maybe even a thunderstorm. You might see a flash of lightning here or there, hear a little thunder, and that could start at 1 a.m. First of all, that's unusual to get it overnight like that, a thunderstorm activity, but this time of the year, very unusual. Could happen again tomorrow afternoon, by the way. Rain is not all that widespread now, mostly mountain and foothills. Wasn't the case earlier. We had some showers everywhere. And even though this looks a little disorganized back here, don't let that fool you because the actual front is still farther back. And we think when that front moves through on Sunday, it's our greatest chance of rain there. You can see some of the showers ahead of this front on Saturday. Now we move into Saturday night and Sunday afternoon, stopping this at about noon on Sunday. That front is right over us. And so that means that afternoon we could see some thunderstorms again, but much colder air back behind that system. How cold? We go from 73 tomorrow for a high to 45 for a high on Monday. Put it into perspective, our high Monday is colder than our overnight low heading into Saturday morning. We will go back to the sunshine and mid to upper 40s for highs and some lows in the 20s for Monday, Tuesday. Just know it'll be windy tomorrow with a few showers in the afternoon and then heavier rains on Sunday before we clear out next week.
And that's a wrap on 2021. And when you look back on these past 365 days, it's easy to remember why it wasn't the best year. But amid all the challenges, there were so many good reasons to smile too. WFNY News 2's Megan Milleris makes it her mission each week to find the people and experiences bringing joy to you.
As we prepare to ring in 2022, take just the next couple minutes for some reflection. All throughout this trying year, you have managed to find the blessings happening all around you. So one last time in 2021, I asked you on my Facebook page, Megan Maleros News, to tell me something good, big or small, that happened in your life recently. Ken celebrated a birthday and talked with an old friend for the first time in several years. Melissa hadn't seen her best friend in 3 years due to COVID, but she's now visiting from Maine and they're having an amazing time together. Jackie is getting a car this week. James recently retired and enjoys spending days with his grandson. Scott visited his son in Florida during Christmas. Robin spent the last few days with grandchildren in Charlottesville and took them to see a movie. Irma saw her family in Maryland and her granddaughter came to visit. She also got her first COVID vaccine. Catherine's daughter spent Christmas home with family this year, and her son is awaiting the arrival of a new baby due January 1st. Phyllis said, all is calm, all is bright, and we needed the rain we got this week. God is good.
So many great things happening in people's lives. What about y'all? What you have going on?
Oh, Stacey, you may have to go. I have a list. It may take me a while. Do you want to go first?
Oh, okay. Well, Baylor is turning 6 months old tomorrow.
Happy birthday to
I cannot
you.
believe she's gonna be half a year old. And then I'm about to be on vacation and see my family.
That's
I'm
always
so
a plus.
excited.
That's
Yes.
always a plus. I just came back from vacation.
Yes.
Got to see my family, got to see my grandparents. It was just such a great Christmas. I was up in Virginia, and you know, I just love spending time with my grandparents. I have
Oh, it's
not
the
been
best.
able to see them this much in the past several years because I was living so far away, and I have seen them at least 6 times, I feel like,
that's so
since I've
good.
moved back to the East Coast. So it's just, I love it.
That's perfect. That's what it's all about right
Mhm.
there. You know, for me, it's the fact that our Christmas was wonderful at our house this year,
Mhm.
and my brother-in-law, he and his wife are expecting a baby in June. So they gave us that information over Thanksgiving, actually. And so it's just been a good end to the year. The twins have I won't name names so they're not embarrassed, but one of my twins has straight A's in their first semester in college. The other one is all A's and 1 B, so they're doing a great
Yay.
job. And everything's good.
I
Yeah,
thought,
nothing to complain
I
about.
thought you were about to say one of my twins has a new girlfriend.
That's
or something.
exactly what I was thinking. I was like, you're calling him out.
They don't
Okay.
tell me. They give me little hints every now and again, but they don't give it all out. Yeah.
Well, I think it overall has been a great week.
It has.
And even with everything that's going on, I think it's been a great year.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to 2022. I know we got some challenges ahead of us, but fingers crossed this is going to be our year of 2022.
That's what I think.
I'm ready for
I'm
it.
with you on that.
Let's go. Let's get to 2022.
All right.
Fast forward.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
the 1950s and over the course of the decade, the Ricardos were one of America's most famous families. But behind the camera, who were Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz? WFMY News 2's photojournalist shares a glimpse. Manning Franks, he shares a glimpse of their story and tells us what he thinks of the new biopic, Being the Ricardos.
Lucy, I'm home. I don't even need to tell you where that's from because you already know what that is. I Love Lucy is one of those shows that changed the American TV landscape, so who isn't a little bit curious to take a peek behind the laugh track and gaze upon the real people that were Lucy and Desi? Being the Ricardos has you covered. Kind of.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show.
And action.
I had no idea it was going to be a hit.
Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem star as the legendary Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, the towering Hollywood power couple and comedy duo that created one of the most watched shows of all time. However, when one tumultuous week of production brings unspeakable turmoil both professionally and personally, Lucille and Desi must navigate through a minefield that leads them both to re-examine their careers and their marriage. Acclaimed writer. That's better. Acclaimed writer Aaron Sorkin sits down again in the director's chair in Amazon's Being the Ricardos, a flashy, sporadic film that is just as messy as the real-life marriage of Lucille and Desi. Sorkin has his signature rat-a-tat dialogue that allows scenes to move at a brisk pace, always keeping the audience engaged. Even when the placement of those scenes don't make sense. That's where the messiness comes in. The film flashes back in time far too often, and that disrupts the core narrative at play. Even if you're not lost, these flashbacks don't seem to add in the exploration of the central focus of the movie, Lucille and Desi. Which brings me to the casting of Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem. Right out of the gate, do they look like their characters? No. However, I think they do a decent job with the material that they are given. Bardem oozes charisma as Arnaz, but his character always plays a backseat to Kidman's Ball. Kidman, on the other hand, while she makes interesting choices in exploring Lucille Ball's emotional core, simply feels stiff in the role, lacking the magic that made Lucy an icon. Being the Ricardos is merely a fine addition to the biopic genre. Some solid performances, a couple of good laughs, and some engaging, albeit untidy direction. While its one-liners may keep you entertained, I hope one day we get a Ball and Arnaz story that is just as iconic and uproarious as they were. Until then, I'm giving Being the Ricardos a for you to decide. You can find it playing in select theaters and streaming on Amazon Prime.
I can't wait to see this.
You started it, is that right?
I started it last night. I have not finished it yet because I fell asleep. But I was really, really impressed. I thought that Nicole Kidman, I mean, she's just flawless anyway, but she did a fantastic job in the part that I've seen. Now, I will agree with Manning. It kind of goes back and forth,
Yeah.
So you really do have to pay attention the whole time to follow the storyline.
That was the hard part for me, was that it jumped all over the place. I watched the whole thing, but I will tell you, I'm a big TV history buff, so that side of me loved it. But I think from sheer entertainment for people, in fact, I was surprised that you were even watching. I was thinking for people that are younger, I'm not sure if they would be like, well, do I really care?
Oh, absolutely. We grew up on this too.
I
Nick
loved
at
it.
Night.
Yeah, it was always on
Always
TV.
on Nick
Always,
at Night.
that's true.
And my family, we have some of the DVD collection of the
Do you
Lucille
really?
Ball
Oh,
show.
wow,
Yes,
okay.
so I'm a big fan.
You said you like the chocolate scene.
I like the chocolate scene when they're like this. There's so many memes about
There
that. But I need to check that out as well too. That might be what I do this weekend.
Yeah,
You would love
you
it.
need to.
Yeah, I think you would.
Especially since you liked the show. You would love this.
Take a break. We're coming back. Hello, mic check from the wood shop.
Hello, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check, check, check.
Districts like Guilford County Schools and Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools.
Well, it's time for my 2 cents, and happy New Year's Eve. You know, I'm going to talk about all things New Year's Eve, good and bad. For me, I always felt like New Year's Eve was sad. I didn't think you were ringing in the new year. I think that even that song, Auld Lang Syne, just except for the last scene in It's a Wonderful Life, I thought that song was depressing. It's a Wonderful Life saved that song for me. I always felt like there was A, sadness at the end of the year, B, back when you were single, too much pressure to be with someone on New Year's Eve, and C, I never really thought that it was a great time to make resolutions. You know, I read an article recently that said 90% of resolutions aren't followed through with, right? I mean, we know that. We do it ourselves. The flip of a calendar is not the best time to make a resolution. If you need to make a change in your life, you make it whenever. It doesn't have to be January 1 at midnight or 12:01. So for me, I was always kind of lukewarm on New Year's Eve. Now, until 2020. At the end of that year, I couldn't wait to say goodbye to it. I was excited. Probably one of the most exciting New Year's Eves I'd ever had until this year, because we still haven't gotten this COVID thing under control. So now I'm looking forward to 2022. I will say this, the passing of Betty White adds some extra solemnness to this New Year's Eve for me. I loved her, I grew up with her. It was very sad to hear that. But I will tell you, that flip of the calendar, right, should not be the reason you make a change in your life. When it's time to make a change, you make a change. But happy New Year's Eve anyway, and I hope you have a great night tonight. Have fun. That's just my 2 cents, and that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Betty White, the comedic actress whose career spanned more than 80 years, has died just weeks shy of her 100th birthday. She started her career in 1939, 3 months after graduating high school, and we're sorry about that noise. That was actually our live stream playing there. And she and a former classmate actually sang songs on a Los Angeles TV channel.